What's up, Cowboys Nation and YouTubers? It's that VA Dallas Cowboy fan coming back at you on Victory Friday of all days. Boy, me doing 3 videos in 1 week is crazy, but 'tis what it is. Anyways, Victory Friday. Sloppy, bad taste in our mouth, ugly win, just gritty. But gosh dang it all, a win is a win, isn't it? So, there's things that the Cowboys can clean up. It's definitely something that we can work on. I mean, for once, we're not the ones complaining about penalties. That was on Tennessee. We actually had comparatively a clean game as far as penalties go. Dak had his turnovers again. 1 interception was on him. 1 interception was not on him. There was a bad snap between him and Biotish early on that we don't know if it was more on the center or Dak not getting the ball, but either way, it led to a turnover. But, you know, they fought back. They got gritty with it. You know, they had to do what they had to do. No complaints, you know. Everybody was complaining against the Eagles, 4 takeaways. We wouldn't have beat them, you know, that lame-o excuse. But turnovers are key. If you look at the Eagles games, most of their wins came because takeaways. So I don't know why they're bitching at all, because that's exactly how they've been winning. So, tit for that. You know. The defense... Micah Parsons is a beast on a whole nother level. That dude's out here with 1 hand out, 1 hand in the club, recovering fumbles. If you look at the film, even though he didn't get home on sacks or anything, he was so disruptive that he's causing offensive line false starts. He's getting the other linemen in there because they're so concentrated on stopping him. He's just a force to be reckoned with. They got to account for him. They got to double and triple team him most of the time. They got to, a lot of times you've heard that they make the plays run towards him. They're running away from him in this game. They didn't want no parts of Micah this game. Same with Trayvon. They didn't go at him like the Eagles did. They were more concerned with throwing on Deshaun Wright and not even at Bland really for most of the game. But, you know, they had a couple passes where it was some blown coverages due to Curse and Hooker being out. Some communication issues arose on a touchdown. But for the most part, these guys have been pretty good as far as communication. They're not as prolific as they were earlier in the season, but they held the Titans down to 13 points. People are going to say, well, it's because, you know, their whole offense was having a rest night and all that, blah, blah, blah. You play the teams that are in front of you. Who cares if they're playing at full health or not? Nobody's bitching about it when they win. Let's see. The running game was a complete wash. The gains they made in the first quarter, as usual, Kellen Moore got away from it, and he just decided anytime they were going to run, they're going to run straight into a brick wall. I tweeted it out. I said, goddamn, Malik Davis can catch the ball in space like Tony Pollard. He's just a younger version of Pollard, and they're pretty much both young. So I don't know why you didn't use Davis the same way you'd have used Pollard. They could both do the same thing. Good Lord. The man has no comprehension of schemes at all. I don't understand. Anytime you had running plays, you just ran them straight into a brick wall every single time. If it wasn't for the fact Zeke is who he is and falls forward for 1 or 2 yards, you would have nothing. You know? And again, he filled his running quota in the first quarter and decided to completely go away from it and have Dak start throwing all over the field again. It's getting fucking annoying that anytime he sees that his running game does nothing, he just abandons it. If he does squeak it in there, it's on first downs. They do nothing, and he's throwing the rest of the game. The guy has. I'm done complaining about Kellen Moore. It's just regurgitating the same crap every week. But a win is a win, like we said. We lost Tyler Biadasz. He got rolled up on in the fourth quarter. Looks like a high ankle sprain. Depending on the player, that can last for quite some time. Depends on what you do. I know receivers and like running backs, high ankle sprains can be a minute. But because he's an offensive lineman, I'm not sure how long he's going to take to recover. But due to us already clinching the playoffs and only having, the Washington Commanders game left, if Philly wins, there's no point in playing these guys to possibly get him hurt. Dak got dinged up. His knee got hurt on a play. He walked it off. But, they're not going to say anything about that. Zach Martin had trouble getting up on the late game play at the end of the game. But once he got up, he kind of walked it off. But it's like, guys, y'all keep trotting these men out there and they're getting hurt. And y'all keep saying, you want momentum. Fuck momentum. I want health over momentum. If you're not healthy, what's the point? People say play him in the game even if it's meaningless. All right, so Dak goes out there on the first season and he turns into a Romo and gets his back broken on the first play. Then what? So much for fucking momentum, don't you think? That's all I'm saying about that. But yeah, all in all, coaches can do better. Players do what the coaches can only tell them to do and try to be the best that they can be and holding it down. Props to Bland and Nahshon Wright coming through and trying to, hold down that secondary. Jabril Cox made an appearance. He tried to do what he could do. He had some plays where he kind of missed some tackles, but he did make some as well. What's the kid's name? Damone Clark. He was out there doing his thing. The best of his abilities. Barr. The guys are banged up on defense, but thankfully, with the playoffs coming, LVE should be healthy enough to go, I hope. And Jonathan Hankins on the line can go. So that's going to show up a couple pieces that were missing and make that running game a little better than what it is, we hope, because that's going to be our Achilles heel, it looks like. Other than that, James Washington was inactive. I don't know why they're not using him. It seems like they just wasted money on this guy and they're never going to let him go out there, just like Tolbert that drafted this kid and one bad penalty and now he's nowhere to be seen. T.Y. Hilton's making some catches that look great. We saw Gallup make plays. We saw Noah Brown make some plays and another drop. CD got his catches, I think 11 for 100. I think that was his totals. But I don't know. It looked like the CeeDee Lamb and Dalton Schultz show, basically, in the passing game. There was some other guys sprinkled in catching the ball, but without Pollard, it doesn't seem like they try to spread the ball around too much at all. And I get it, it's not Madden, but, there's other guys on the team that can get open, but it's a horrible scheme that they can never get them open. There's almost no separation most of the time. And when there is, they get some yards after the catch, but it's got to be on the money. You can't be having them wide open, you're throwing it behind them and stuff. So that is on Dak and his placement. So before people say I'll never talk shit about Dak. But, I'll take it. It's a W. We're 12-4. If this was the end of the regular season like it used to be in the past, that's a great record. It's one of those things where, dang, you won 12 games, but you're not divisional champion. It's just one of those years. If it falls the way it falls, we could have all 4 NFC East teams in the playoffs. And that is just going to be for nothing but beat down pride as far as the division goes. Because three other teams are not going to be NFC East. But we don't care about them. We're just going to want to beat up on each other. So we'll have to see how this last week, for us last week, and for every other team the last 2 weeks goes. And we'll sort the playoffs from there. I'll talk to y'all next time with the Commanders game coming up on Sunday. We'll see how they do, if they make it out relatively healthy. We'll see what the Giants will do, see if Philly is going to play Minshew again, because Jalen Hurts probably won't play one more week. If they pull it off against New Orleans, do we rest? Do we not rest? We'll talk about all that next time. But till then, it's VA Dallas Cowboy fan.